It's Tuesday, August 9th, 2016, and here are the stories that we're covering this week. One of the largest torrent meta search engines in the world has suddenly shut down and without warning. Chip and PIN debit and credit cards have been shown to be insecure. Thousands of seismic sensors monitoring geological activity are vulnerable to cyber attack. IBM's Watson Artificial Intelligence has saved a woman's life after having successfully and accurately diagnosed her rare form of leukemia. And ESET is recommending Windows 10 Anniversary Update users disable Windows Defender. These stories are coming right up. Don't go anywhere. Now here's another great way you can support the shows you love from the Category 5.tv network by shopping at GearBest.
That's right, Jeff. cat5.tv/GearBest. It's an online store for the geek streak in you.
Or the loved ones.
Well, of course. I mean, especially your loved ones, right? Because cat5.tv/GearBest, quite frankly, has all of the greatest tech gifts that you could ever hope for at rock-bottom prices.
Do they have cell phones?
You betcha. Cat5.tv/GearBest has a wide assortment of unlocked Android cell phones and tablets.
What about consumer electronics? Those make a great gift.
Absolutely. From high-tech watches to action cameras, headphones, even virtual reality headsets. Cat5.tv/GearBest has you covered. They literally have it all, Jeff. Literally.
Really?
It's like a superstore right from the comfort of your own chair at your computer through the interweb.
Yeah. There's no way they have it all.
It's true.
It's just a bunch of random electronics.
Test me.
What about clothes?
Yep. Both men and women, fashionable apparel at rock-bottom super-duper prices.
Kind of like this?
Well, look at this coat. What do you think? It's a slimming mock leather jacket.
I love it.
It's available for less than $30 plus free shipping at cat5.tv/GearBest.
Yeah, all right. You kind of got me there.
Wow. Any other questions for me, Jeff?
Now that the winter has passed, flying season. Do they have any good deals on, say, drone copters?
Oh my goodness! Well, check this out. Dude, they have everything. Check out over 500 various drones. And not only that, they're available marked down by about 30 to up to 63% off the regular price.
Love it. What's the website again?
Well, you're going to find GearBest on our partners pages for any of your favorite Category 5 TV shows like New Every Day, Category 5 Technology TV, The Pixel Shadow. But of course, if you want to shop absolutely right now and you want to go straight to the site, all you have to do is visit cat5.tv/GearBest.
See, that's easy. cat5.tv/GearBest.
That's right. Happy shopping.
I'm Jeff Weston, and here are the top stories from the Category 5.tv newsroom. Torrents.eu, one of the world's largest torrent sites, has announced farewell to its millions of users. The meta search engine, which hosted no torrents of its own but linked to other sites, including the Pirate Bay, has decided to cease its operation. The surprise shutdown marks the end of an era. Founded in 2003, Torrents has been a stable factor in the torrent community for over 13 years. With millions of visitors per day, the site grew to become one of the most trusted torrent sites. But now, this reign ends as the popular meta search engine has announced its shutdown. On Friday, and without warning, Torrents disabled its search functionality. And at first sight, the main page looks normal, but those who try to find the links to Torrents will notice that they're no longer there. Instead, the site is now referring to itself in the past tense, suggesting that after more than a decade, the end has arrived. Torrents was a free, fast, and powerful meta search engine combining results from dozens of search engines, the text reads. The site's user is no longer available to log in either. Instead, they see the following message: Torrents will always love you. Farewell. Torrents itself never hosted any torrent files, but did have a takedown procedure in place allowing copyright holders to take down infringing links. Now, not all right holders were happy with the site, though. Both the RIAA and the MPAA have reported the site to U.S. government in recent years, which repeatedly placed it in the annual out-of-cycle review of notorious markets. Now, with Torrents.eu and Kickass Torrents both shutting down, the torrent community lost two of the largest sites in a period of 3 weeks. Something tells me the whole Kickass Torrents getting shut down may be the reason why Torrents.eu has said, I'm out of here.
I think they're packing it in.
I think so. I think they just don't want to get caught. And not that they're doing anything wrong. They're just providing links, but they're getting caught up in the anti-torrent movement.
They've been really careful. You mentioned that that they have never hosted torrents, and in fact, when they first launched, I remember that they did host torrents, and then they realized, whoa, we need to rework this because we don't want to be breaking the law.
Right. Yeah.
We would rather fall into the gray than the black.
That's right.
So they changed it. And that happened very, very quickly. So it's not inaccurate, but yeah, they did at one point actually host torrents. But it is a gray area, and it's a tough thing when, these great sites. And from our screenshot even, I mean, you could download things like Linux distributions.
Well, exactly. And that's what I use torrents for a lot of the times is getting some of that kind of stuff. So it's sad to see that torrents is gone. I use it all the time.
I would love so much to have Category 5 season by season available as torrents.
That would be awesome.
Wouldn't that be neat? What would you think of that? Would you like that?
That would be amazing.
That'd be cool.
That'd be a massive file.
It'd be a lot of files all in one magnet link or something.
1 year, like 52 episodes that are at least an hour each.
Do the math, Jeff. How much would that take on your hard drive?
Well, how big is the average video file?
The average show these days, now if you were watching in 1080p HD, let's see if I can find a calculator on this here, BlackBerry Z10.
Did they disable the calendar?
No, it's just such a mess. I think we're probably falling about 1,300 megabytes, 1.3 gigabytes. Times 51, so you'd be looking at 66,300 divided by 1,024, 64 gigabytes, almost 65 gigabytes per season.
Times 9, so
times 9 seasons. Well, the early seasons weren't in 1080p, but you'd be looking at 500 gigs anyway. 500
gigs, half a terabyte of tech goodness.
You should see our file storage online, because we're hosted on S3, so we host the HD 1080p, the HD 720, the SD 580, the SD 360, the LD, and the MP3, all on the same hosting package.
That is one big hosting
So you
package.
think you need a lot of space for your backups?
Wow.
Yeah.
All right. Credit card companies, for the most part, have moved away from swipe and signature credit cards to chip and PIN cards. But by this point, the technology is supposed to provide consumers with an added layer of security, and it's beginning to show some wear, according to researchers. Nir Voltman and Patrick Watson, researchers for NRC Corporation, staged a series of malicious transactions in a talk at Black Hat last week, demonstrating that they could capture Track2 data and bypass chip and PIN protections. Now, the standard's intent is to prevent the duplication of cards and crack down on stolen card usage, but it doesn't prevent that card data from being used or modified elsewhere. In their first demonstration, the duo used a Raspberry Pi to capture Track2 data packets in real time. Via a passive man-in-the-middle compromise, they picked up 2 interactions from data entered into a PIN pad running flawed production software that's currently in use at least one unspecified vendor. Now, while the researchers claimed that they had spoken with the vendor and asked them to implement TLS connections, they were told that it couldn't be done as they ran old hardware. The two also showed how chip and PIN cards aren't immune to hacks. The garbled data can be transformed into readable bits and data. Attackers could compromise a PIN pad by injecting a form and quickly change it back to a customized welcome message. Voltman warns, therefore, that consumers should never re-enter their PIN, as it's a telltale giveaway that a PIN pad may have been compromised. How many times have you used your PIN and you've had to re-enter it because you've hit the wrong button?
Well, that's my fault. So I know.
Right.
Right?
So,
But if you enter your PIN and then it immediately goes back and resets to the enter your PIN prompt.
that's what they're talking about. Because, I mean, the amount
It's
of
like
times...
one is a phishing scam and then the next one's the real one.
Right. Man. See, nothing is safe.
Nothing is safe. We're all doomed.
So, I mean, it's harder to duplicate the cards, but I mean, if you can use a Raspberry Pi to take all that information.
You can use a Raspberry Pi for anything.
Pretty true.
You want to be a hacker? Go to cat5.tv/pi. You will instantly be a hacker.
Oh, good times.
And thank you.
Wow. I wonder how that's going to apply with, like the tap.
The tap.
Yeah, because you don't even
the tap chip thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I wonder if the same vulnerabilities apply with the tap. Because it's the machine itself.
Mm-hmm.
You don't need PIN codes for that. So I wonder if there's a vulnerability there. You never know.
You never know, folks. You never know.
Until the next news story.
Oh.
Or not. Thousands of seismic sensors monitoring geological activity are vulnerable to cyber attack. The poor security controls around the way the sensors transmit data were detailed in a presentation at DEF CON Hacker Convention. Researchers found ways to fool and overload sensors so that monitoring systems would get widely inaccurate readings. Now, the findings have been reported to the U.S. Computer Emergency Organization that oversees the national infrastructure. And Burton Bonalla is a security expert based in Costa Rica who, with colleague James Jara, carried out the research. Mr. Bonalla said that the network of sensors came to light during a different project that tried to find and map smart devices connected to the net to create a search engine for the Internet of Things. I love the Internet of Things. The devices stood out because of the distinctive fingerprints of data that surrendered to scanning software and because of their location. Now, he said, these devices are located in extreme environments like the middle of the ocean and around active volcanoes. Closer scrutiny revealed that it was easy to connect to the sensors, each of which costs $30,000 and see the data that they were gathering and transmitting. Tracing links to central servers that collect the data revealed a series of flaws, including common default passwords that could be exploited by attackers to take control of the network. Now, they were even able to establish a root shell, the highest level of privilege on the system. Mr. Bonella said that the risks were associated with the network and sensors were too low, but the easy access might be of interest to particular types of hackers. He detailed that these devices measure natural disasters. Abusing them could lead to financial sabotage for a specific company or country. Nanometrics, the company that makes the sensor system that was probed, disputed the researchers' findings, saying, "We have always recommended to our customers that they change the factory default passwords. And when using the systems on real-time communication networks, they limit access to known IP addresses and use VPN software."
Wow.
If there's one thing I have learned, it's that when you tell people to do something, chances are they're not going to do it.
You'd like to think the government employees they RTFM. They do what it says in the manual.
You'd think so.
When you install a router in your... this happens with internet service providers, thinking about home users.
Yes.
You get a new modem from your ISP. Mm-hmm. What do? You plug it in, you turn it on, you've got internet. Yes!
Yep.
It has default passwords. Other folks out there on the internet can connect to it and access your stuff.
Yes.
So that's a home user, and it is true, and it happens. That is not a conspiracy theory. That is truth. Change your bloomin' passwords.
I've done it. I've moved into areas, see all these unsecure Wi-Fi from all the houses around.
Oh, sure.
And I'm like,
oh,
really?
Oh, but I share it with my neighbor.
Right. So, but
okay. So you pull up.
So I pull up their Wi-Fi and I have access.
Because he's a hacker.
No, I'm just snooping.
average
Joe.
I
have access to all their files, but then on top of that, I decide to type in their default router password for the admin access.
Usually admin password.
That's right.
You can Google it. You can go to the login form and it'll say WRT54G.
Right.
Google default password WRT54G. Admin password. Okay, let's try it.
Yeah.
And I'm in.
And I've gone in and I'm like, oh, look, I have access to your router, so I could lock you out. I'm just like,
sure.
Ah,
but a smart hacker or prying person would not lock out the user, but instead would install sniffing software to be able to gain their credit card information.
Absolutely.
Or copy all their personal files onto a hard drive or whatever.
And all of this is just home networks. Not to mention, we're talking about seismic reading technology.
And they didn't RTFM. And they didn't change the password. So the news comes out, and we purposefully ended the story with the truth.
Yes.
The news comes out that these things are all susceptible to hackers. They're all easily exploited because they're all a bunch of routers with admin password.
Yep.
Well, it's not the devices per se, but the people who installed the devices didn't read the manual.
Yep.
Didn't do what they were told, which is do not deploy these with the default password. That's there so that you can connect to it, set it up, add your own secure password, strong password, set it up behind a tunnel so that it's SSL encrypted. Make sure your keys are up to date.
See,
It's got to fall on the user. Come on.
And the one part in the news story that talked about, this could be particularly interesting for attacks or profit making. Like I think of things like, the San Andreas fault. Like imagine if those sensors were hacked, somebody didn't change the password, and somebody decided, I'm just going to have a little bit of fun and set those suckers off to say that there's a, 10 on the Richter scale earthquake happening in California.
And then all of a sudden, emergency services are deployed, government funds are being sunk into something that doesn't exist. So there's that end of it, yeah. You could have bankruptcies happening from that, and then something real happens, and guess what? Now we've got all our resources over here.
Well, exactly.
Maybe that's the plan.
Or it's like a diversion tactic. Hey, set off it over
That's
here,
what I mean, yeah.
and now we attack on the East Coast.
Everything's hunky-dory on the East Coast.
Telling you.
No seismic activity over there. But money be damned. I mean, it's virtual. It doesn't even exist. But truth is, what happens if it was used to hurt human life? That's a very real thing.
Tech is a wonderful thing, but we really do mess it up as a human race.
Some of us do.
But then again, sometimes we can use it to save lives.
Sure.
Just like IBM. Now, IBM's Watson has done everything from winning at Jeopardy, which was so fun to watch, to cooking exotic meals. I would be interested to try those meals. But it appears to have accomplished its greatest feat yet, saving a life. University of Tokyo doctors report that the artificial intelligence diagnosed a 60-year-old woman's rare form of leukemia that had been incorrectly identified months earlier. The analytical machine took just 10 minutes to compare the patient's genetic changes with a database of 20 million cancer research papers, delivering an accurate diagnosis and leading to proper treatment that had proven elusive. Now, Watson has also identified another rare form of leukemia in another patient, the university says. It's likely to take a long while before Watson and other AI systems are regularly providing advice at hospitals. But we can imagine a future where human doctors won't have to spend ages sifting through research to identify an obscure disease. They just plug in the right data and start the healing process. I think of the news month and a half ago that came out about the robot.
Pepper.
Pepper.
Yeah.
Imagine putting Watson into Pepper.
Sure.
Now you no longer have a hospital greeting robot. You now have a diagnosing Like you walk in and you go, Pepper, I feel horrible. Tell me how you feel. Well, here's what's changed in my health. My goodness, you have leukemia. We would like you to go to Bay 1.
You deduced that from me saying hi? If you listen to Stuff You Should Know, they talked about triage and how that works and everything.
Right.
So it makes me think about, maybe a triage robot would be of interest. And you think, oh, well, Watson is this massive supercomputer artificial intelligence. They can't put that into Pepper. Hold on. Internet of Things.
That's right.
Okay? Cloud. So it's not about training, teaching, downloading all the information into Pepper, but rather connecting Pepper to a Watson supercomputer backend. Think about Amazon Echo.
Yes.
It's not all in Echo. No, Echo is just a simple little device. Watch that, Luke. Sorry. But it's connected to the Amazon cloud servers.
Mm-hmm.
And that then feeds Echo with all the information. Luke, sorry, can you sit up, buddy? You're kicking the camera, dude. Sorry, folks.
Is the camera off?
No, the camera is on. But don't worry, it's almost end of show.
All right.
That's my thought, anyways.
You know, and it's interesting thinking of movies like Big Hero 6 with Baymax.
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Like,
sure, why couldn't that eventually, not to that end, but why couldn't that idea take place?
Everybody, as my daughter calls him, the squishy. Everybody just needs a personal squishy.
You just want to cuddle him. Just want to cuddle him. There you go.
Last week, Microsoft issued the Windows 10 anniversary update, which includes changes to the manner in which security status is presented to home users. The change does not affect enterprise users. Now, on the home versions, Windows Defender now displays a user's protection status as off if any non-Microsoft antivirus protection, including ESET, is in use. Additionally, Windows 10 Defender advises the user to remove their non-Microsoft antivirus protection. Now, in a statement to ESET partners, ESET has recommended against the removal of ESET security products. This goes for other anti-malware products as well. ESET will not issue a proactive market-facing statement at the time, but recommends disabling Windows Defender product and notifications. And they've whipped together a page for Windows 10 users affected with the warning outlining why users should not uninstall their anti-malware product. On the page, users are presented with the following warning. Despite what Windows Defender might suggest, ESET is still protecting you, and removing it will make you more secure.
Will not
make you more secure. Sorry.
Get that one right. I had to.
To read more, visit cat5.tv/ESET. Big thanks this week to Roy W. Nash and our community of viewers for submitting stories to us. If you found a news story you'd like to send, email it to newsroom@category5.tv. For all your tech news with a slight Linux bias, visit the category5.tv newsroom at newsroom.category5.tv. For the Category5.tv newsroom, I'm Jeff Weston.